About 2 years ago to the day, we were packing our stuff up, getting ready to make the move from California to Seattle, Washington. And I can remember just the excitement, the energy, but also the angst. Who are we going to get to know? How is this thing called a church plant, a church startup actually going to start up? It was stressful and exciting and all of those things. On top of that, we had a 3-month-old baby. I had to take 2 very rambunctious puppies 1,000 miles in a car. We had to figure out what it meant to be Jesus people in a new place like Seattle. Well, it's been 2 years. We've built friendships with all kinds of folks, like-minded folks, our neighbors who may not even care much about Jesus, our very close friends who have said they want to journey with us in this church planting thing. What's been incredible is that from the very beginning, we've said we wanted to create an inclusive space where people who don't know God could come to know God. And that's kind of a hard thing to do in a culture like Seattle. Many people call this a post-Christian culture, a culture where people identified as nuns, or basically, and not the kind of nuns like Mother Teresa, but the kind of nun who basically says, I don't really affiliate with none, like any religion. These people are all over the place. And one posture towards them historically has been, you need to get your life right. You need to know what's up. Jesus is the only answer. And without Jesus, you're going to A, B, or C. But our posture has been, yeah, we want to tell people that knowing Jesus matters and it's important, but we also want to let them know that Jesus isn't out to get them. Jesus is actually for them and for the cosmos, for the world. Jesus so loved all of it. And so here's the question. What would it look like to plant a church that looks like Jesus, looks like the character of God? And so what we tried to do is essentially come up with a vision for that. And so we're planting these neighborhood-based communities where they do 2 things. They live as a community of people committed to justice and peacemaking. And then they also, in smaller groups, hang out and talk about transformation and soul care and getting to know Christ personally in deeper ways. And we thought, well, what if this collection of people actually all got together from around the city on Sundays and said, we want to have shared values, a shared vision, and a shared idea of who God is, and a God who is for humanity. And so that's what we call Pangea communities. We spent time collecting a core team of folks who had that vision, that had that heart for God, and now we are at a place where we've discerned together that the micro rhythms that we built over the last 2 years of community and serving and justice and going deep theologically, going deep with humanity, this is something that at a micro level we want to take to the city officially. And so for the last 6-7 months, we've been dreaming of what a launch would look like. And so as we've done so, we've realized that resources obviously matter. And our denomination has come through in a huge way. The Brethren in Christ has said, we believe in this vision. We think you should launch. And here's one way we can help you, and that's financially and through prayer. And so they've really come alongside us. But they've also recognized, as we at Pangea recognize, like, we don't want to do this alone. We want a larger community of people who is committed to this vision. And so we're inviting family, friends, and connections through maybe social media to consider what it would look like to give something, even if it were a small gift, for those of you who may say, I don't have a lot of resources, but here's the deal, like even a small gift can make a big impact when there's a lot of small gifts, right? And so we want to invite you to consider that. And you may ask, what kind of needs do you have? Well, we have rent, and we have a bunch of equipment that we've got to figure out how to use and pay for. Not only that, we have to carry all this equipment in a truck, which we have to buy, which we're buying a very used U-Haul, but then we have to store this very used U-Haul in a truck lot every week, and that costs money, and then there's insurance, and then there's maintenance, and then there's all the curriculum needs, the kids' ministry, all the things that you might imagine might cost a little bit of money. Now, if you can't give, don't hear this video as only an invitation to financial giving. We really invite you to pray with us and follow our journey and help us celebrate what God is already up to. And by the way, one thing God's already up to, we've been doing this kind of micro version of Pangea for the last couple of years. And one relationship that got forged was with a gal who really had given up on God, given up on the church, hadn't been to church in 10 years, basically considered herself agnostic and mostly atheistic in orientation towards Christ and God. But she started coming to our missional community that we had and started getting to know some of us. And in the process, here's what happened. She said to me one day, she said, Kurt, I think I'm really into this. Like, I feel like I matter here. I feel like I should be here. I don't feel excluded anymore. And a couple of months ago, after being in friendship with her for a while, she actually came to me at coffee and she said, you know, Kurt, guess what? I believe in the resurrection again. My mind just went, pfft. You see, if that can happen at a small scale, what we said to ourselves is, why can't we help usher that process in on a larger scale? And so that is what's behind the Pangea community launch. We think Pangea Communities is going to be able to have a presence in Seattle that looks more and more like Jesus. And so we invite you to be involved with that. Thank you so much for your prayer support, for your possible financial support. You can go to seattlepangea.com or PangeaCommunities, plural.com, and see ways that you can give by clicking the Give button. But even if that's not the case for you, I invite you to track with us, pray with us, and continue to stay connected in any way you feel led.